Manchester United are preparing to make an opening offer.
24 months ago, almost nobody outside France was talking about Carlos Baleba. He was just another young midfielder trying to make his name in European football. But football changes quickly. Today, his name is being discussed as one of the most interesting midfield options for Manchester United, alongside one of the most talented midfielders of his generation, Eduardo Camavinga. And this is where the debate becomes fascinating. Because this is not just another transfer rumor. This is a decision about what Manchester United want to become. Do they invest in the next great midfielder who could define the club for years? Or do they go after a player who has already proven himself at the highest level? Because if Manchester United have learned anything from recent years, it is that signing the right midfielder can completely change the direction of a team. Under Michael Carrick, the focus is expected to be on intelligence, control, technical quality, and players who can dictate the rhythm of important matches. And that brings us to the big question. If Manchester United could sign only one midfielder, Carlos Baleba or Eduardo Camavinga, who would you choose? Let's start with Baleba, because his rise has been one of the most interesting stories in European football. A few years ago, he was not a name many Premier League fans knew. But Brighton saw something, and Brighton have built one of the smartest recruitment systems in world football. They found Ibissouma. They developed Moises Caicedo. They signed Alexis McAllister before he became a World Cup winner. And now Carlos Baleba is the latest player attracting huge attention. What makes Baleba so interesting is his profile. He has the physical power to compete in the Premier League. He can carry the ball through midfield. He has the energy to cover large areas. And he has the aggression needed to win important battles in the middle of the pitch. For Manchester United, that is a very attractive profile. Because for years, fans have been asking for a midfielder who can bring balance. Someone who can recover the ball, protect the defense, and help the team control matches. Baleba has many of those qualities. But there's one problem. Quality costs money. Brighton know exactly how valuable their players are. And reports suggest that any serious approach could require a fee around £80 million or even more. That is a huge investment. Manchester United would not only be buying what Baleba is today, they would be buying what he could become tomorrow. And that is always the risk with young talent. But then, there's Eduardo Camavinga. And this changes the entire conversation. Because Camavinga is not a player waiting to become world-class. He already is. He has played in the biggest stadiums in football. He has won the Champions League. He has played alongside some of the greatest players in the world. And he has shown that he can perform when the pressure is at its highest. That is the biggest difference. With Baleba, Manchester United would be investing in the future. With Camavinga, they would be bringing in proven elite quality. However, there's one major obstacle. Real Madrid. Because convincing Real Madrid to sell a player like Camavinga would be extremely difficult. The Spanish giants do not usually allow young world-class players to leave, especially players who can influence games in multiple positions. A potential deal could also require a massive financial commitment, with valuations around the €80 million range being discussed in transfer conversations. So the question becomes even more complicated. Would Manchester United spend huge money on the player who might become one of the best midfielders in Europe? Or would they spend huge money on the player who is already performing at that level? And maybe this is the most important part of the debate. Because football is not only about talent. It is about timing. It is about what a club needs at that exact moment. If Manchester United want to build a midfield for the next decade, Carlos Baleba could represent the perfect long-term investment. But if they want immediate control, experience, and a player ready for the biggest games tomorrow, Eduardo Camavinga is incredibly difficult to ignore. This is why this decision could say so much about the future direction of Manchester United. Are they building patiently? Are they looking for the next superstar before everyone else? Or are they ready to make a statement signing? Now, I want to hear from you. Imagine you are inside the Manchester United boardroom. The budget allows only one major midfield signing. One phone call. One decision. Do you call Brighton for Carlos Baleba? Or do you call Real Madrid for Eduardo Camavinga? Who would you choose? And more importantly, why? Leave your opinion in the comments. Because this is the kind of debate that shows exactly why Manchester United remains one of the biggest football stories in the world. The next great midfielder at Old Trafford could shape the future of this club for years to come.